This short video will teach you ways to read more effectively so that you learn more when you read. Reading seems pretty straightforward, right? So the big questions here are, what do most students do wrong when they read their assignments? And what should they do instead? The biggest mistake most students make is simply reading something from start to finish without doing anything with the information and thinking their brains will absorb information like a sponge and be ready to take the exam. But your brain doesn't work like that. Reading and understanding is not the same as being able to answer questions. Your brain handles those two tasks completely differently. So just reading does not prepare your brain for answering questions, even if you understand what you read. Instead of reading nonstop, you should be continually checking in with yourself while you read. This turns reading into a conversation between yourself and the text. Let's talk about what that looks like. You should pause after each paragraph and ask yourself if you understand what you read. A great way to do this is to close your eyes and try to state the main idea. If you can, write it down as your notes. If you can't, read it again before moving on, focusing on figuring out the main thing the author is trying to say in that paragraph. Sometimes a single sentence can be confusing. You can check in with yourself to make sure you understood it and how it related to the rest of the paragraph. There's no limit to how often you should be pausing to think about what you read. Again, think of it like a conversation. The text gives you a few sentences, then you respond by considering if you understood those sentences and what you should write down. Then the text continues with a few more sentences, and so on. Research shows that quizzing themselves like this as they read is the most important thing that a person can do to improve their learning. By asking themselves questions about what they are reading, they're helping their brains store and retrieve information the way they will need to for an exam. You need to repeat this process for every paragraph, always stopping to check your understanding. Yes, that will slow you down at first, but if you can get in the habit of quizzing yourself as you read, you will soon be able to do it quickly and automatically. Another big mistake that many students make is tending to read through an entire unit or lesson without stopping. And this does not allow them to remember everything, even if they understand what they are reading. Human brains simply can't process and retain that much information all at once without a break or reinforcement. Even the most intelligent people need to give their brains processing time so that they can remember these things later. So instead of reading nonstop, you should stop frequently and review your notes, take breaks, and then review the material again after the break. When reading a lesson, use the headings to break up the reading into smaller pieces. For example, in this screenshot from a fitness and nutrition course, there are 2 headings. So we would break this up into 2 pieces. You should read the first piece, quizzing yourself with every paragraph, and then you should stop. You need to think about the section you just read. What did the author focus on? Why was all of this material grouped under a heading? What was the main idea? Did you include all of this in your notes? Read the notes that you just wrote about it. Do those notes make sense to you? Are there details that should be added? Pausing to ask these questions will help ensure that you are understanding the text and getting what you need out of it. These 2 practices of checking in and quizzing yourself as you read, and pausing after a section to review your notes and check your understanding, can really elevate the effectiveness of your reading so that you understand and remember more of the information. As a quick review, what is the most important thing to do when reading? A. Stop and quiz yourself often. B. Highlight your text as you read. C. Be sure to read an entire lesson in one sitting. And the answer is A. Stop and quiz yourself often. Highlighting the textbook is actually not very helpful, and reading an entire chapter in one sitting is a really bad plan. Our brains need frequent breaks in order to absorb all of that information and make good memories of it. If you have more questions or need more help with reading, studying, and learning, don't hesitate to contact an instructor or success coach.